Hola, somos Nancy
y Raquel, y estás escuchando Butterbeer Talks, un podcast de todo lo relacionado con Harry Potter, la historia y su legado que ha trascendido generaciones.
Acompáñanos a ser parte de esta historia meditando las ideas aquí expuestas, así como conocer las percepciones de nuestros invitados.
Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Butterbeer Talks, donde ya saben que yo, Raquel Zúñiga, y mi co-host les platicamos algo nuevo del mundo de Harry Potter, o algo que ya saben, o algo que tal vez no saben, alguna teoría de nosotras, y pues mucha información de por medio, como ya saben, ¿verdad, Nancy?
Lo típico, drama y discusión.
Exacto. Y pues la verdad es que el día de hoy traemos un tema bastante interesante porque tenemos una invitada súper especial, muy, muy especial para nosotros, que ya teníamos rato intentando aterrizar un horario, pero pues cosas de la vida que no nos lo permiten.
La vida muggle.
Exactamente. Y pues claro, no solamente es una invitada, sino que traemos un tema bastante interesante, porque ustedes saben, nosotros tiramos mucho hate, tiramos mucha madreada, nos unimos al mame de las cosas, pero pues este episodio es especial porque nos vamos a pasar al inglés ahorita en un momento, porque tenemos una invitada muy especial de habla inglés. Y ahora sí, brinco en automático. Here we have our very special guest, Jessie Blount, one of two co-founders of The Gaily Prophet, an intersectional podcast all about queer, all about Harry Potter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the very good intro for it.
Yeah.
And well, just welcome, Jessie. We're so glad to have you. We're glad that we managed to jump in on a schedule with you. And just, we're very happy. I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't look like we're nervous, but we're very happy and we're very nervous.
No, I'm really glad this worked out, and I'm also glad to be here. It's super exciting, and I wish that I had learned Spanish in school to be able to more fully participate in this conversation.
No, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I mean, I don't know if Nancy, you want to start ahead with the first part of this episode?
Yeah, before starting with the first part, that we don't know still what is the first part, because you shouldn't know what is the first part. Anyway, before beginning, maybe Jessie, just to give you a little bit of what are we doing. We are very recently new in the podcast. Recently, we have 3 seasons, but we have been recording for a year. So it's not that much. It's because we frequently record. And we started in Spotify, and then we migrate to other platforms. And we try to talk about Harry Potter for the Latin American people. And it's everything in Spanish. And we try to talk to all the projects inside the fandom, made by the fandom, and all, like new things that are going on, or what's going on inside the Harry Potter world. And we like to talk about this. We have some sometimes we invite other people. We have some guests, some news, some people that already was here, but they like to join to have a talk about something. So that's why we were very, very, very excited to have you here, because we know the importance of the movement you are working on, and it's amazing. And I think that Latin American people must be aware of what things are going on if they are not very aware of all these topics. And okay, before starting, we have some icebreakers.
All right.
But the first one is very easy. It's just to know what is your Hogwarts house and your Patronus.
So my Hogwarts house is I'm a Gryffindor.
That's great.
But I kind of compare it to astrology, where I'm a Gryffindor sun, Ravenclaw moon.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm very interested in the sort of like social justice realm, which is also partly why my podcast is very much critiquing all of the things that come up in the Harry Potter series.
Of course,
yeah.
And my Patronus is a lioness.
So. How very ad hoc to your house. That's great.
Yeah, it's very on. It's very. Is a theme?
Yeah. That's great.
And just out of curiosity, is your favorite color the red one?
Actually, it is not.
Okay.
I actually prefer like the other colors.
Okay.
I'm really more of a red. I'm really more of a yellow, orange, pink, black, like color scheme kind of person than the.
Okay, but still like in the warm zone, so it like matches a bit. Okay, that's great. That's great.
I like a bright color.
Yeah. Do you go for the other one, Rachel, or I do the two?
Go ahead.
Okay. Next question. Do you have, or what is, in case you have, a favorite Hogwarts professor?
I do, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite Hogwarts professor is Lupin, because he is the best teacher that we see at Hogwarts.
The only one with some common sense in him,
Yes, and the only one who actually creates a healthy learning environment for everyone.
That is
and worries for the learning.
Yeah.
He wasn't only the cool teacher, he was the smart one. Yeah.
No, he's an excellent teacher. Everyone else is okay.
They have their good qualities, some of them like have none, but they're like they're there.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. If you were in Hogwarts, if you are, let's imagine a student right now, currently attending Hogwarts, which would you think that could be your favorite part or area of the whole castle and area, Hogwarts area?
I'm gonna have the most nerd answer, which is the library. The library sounds awesome.
It's very great. I mean, but like regular library or restricted section library? Because
the restricted section sounds kind of scary. Like you would touch a book and then you would be in a coma for several months or something.
That's true. It's a very common answer. I mean, my favorite one would be like the grounds by the lake or one of the tallest towers. And Nancy's, I don't remember yours. Which one is it?
I don't remember either. Probably the woods.
Yeah, I think you mentioned either the woods or like the Great Hall or something like that.
The Great Hall, because I talk a lot. So yeah.
You wanted people, I wanted further away from people. It's like a recurring thing between us. Yeah.
The other cool place is the owlery, where you could just hang out and like pet owls and feed them treats, which sounds
incredible. If the owls doesn't hate you.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
You just gotta keep giving them treats until they like you.
That would be on their good side, just to be on their good side.
The lady, the owl lady. Then
I have a plate of like bacon from the Great Hall, and I'm just like, you're gonna like me. Just keep. Here you go.
We're gonna make this work. Yes or yes. There's no bad way to end this. Okay, so now we got to know you. And now we're gonna jump into like more specific questions. And like, I think this is something that we do ask all of our guests, and it's like, how did it all start for you? How did you jump into this fandom? How did it all start for you, whether it be books, movies, recommendations, anything?
All right, so I actually got into Harry Potter while the books were being published.
Mm-hmm.
I read the first 3 books when I was like 12, right before Goblet of Fire came out. So I'd read the first 3 books. I'm like, well, I gotta know what happens next. And then like I got my copy of Goblet of Fire like when it came out.
And it all goes down.
And it all goes downhill from there. And then and what was really cool about that, so basically, so the books came out while I was in high school and college, and then Deathly Hallows came out the summer after I graduated from college. So it was a very much like grew up with Harry Potter kind of person. And I also was involved in the online fandom back in the day, like reading a bunch of fan fiction, essentially, just because there would be all this time in between the books were coming out, and everyone had like all kinds of theories about, like, you know, what is the order of the Phoenix going to be? What are we going to do now? Like, what's going to happen now that Voldemort is out? Like, what is going to happen? You know, just being able to experience kind of like all of the like speculation about how the books were going to go before the series was finished was, and it was an exciting time.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Like waiting for the next book to come out. It was like, oh my God, tomorrow I will know what happened next.
Yeah. And then, like I would just, you know, I would always just like read them all the way through. I'm like, no, you don't. I can't do anything. I have to finish this book.
Of course.
Okay. And then no sleeping, you know, like all night. Like, I don't know if that happened like with your family, and then your mom like, what are you doing at 3 a.m?
Because you were reading or something.
My mom was asleep, so she really had no idea. I was like, because I did stay up all night to, I think, finish Half-Blood Prince.
Of course.
I was like,
it just keeps on going. You can't put it down. I know. It's amazing. So. Okay. So I think we can all agree that of three of us, we had that obsession of we have to finish the book in one sitting once it came out. For me, it was just, I only had to wait for Deathly Hallows, but I also like read it in like the whole day that I got it. I didn't stop. And then I reread it like immediately after, just to really grasp everything once again.
Yeah.
I also had to wait for the last book.
Yeah.
But a lot, like 4 months. I don't remember.
I remember
because I didn't have the book, and I had to wait someone else to finish so I can have the book, because I couldn't buy it. So they were like, okay, I will wait. And then a teacher told me like, oh, I have it. I already read it. So you can have it. Okay.
I don't know. Nice. I don't know what crossed my mind. I mean, I lived right by the border to the United States, and it never crossed my mind to be like, Dad, can you go buy me the book in English? Because I read them for the first time in Spanish, and only up to last year I read them in English for the first time. And I don't know why it never crossed either my mind or my parents' mind to be like, she really wants this book. Why don't we just go buy for her? Like, here, why do we have to wait for it to come out in Spanish? And I don't know, it happened, and that happened back then, but it was very different. I mean, I didn't have like very much of a sense of it all. Okay, and now we jump into what we did introduce during the beginning of the episode. What inspired this project that you have with Lark, the Gaily Prophet? What was the breaking point? Do you like remember a specific before and after?
Yeah.
How it grew up?
Yeah, actually, there's a very okay, so part of it is, so Lark's best friend is my wife. They go back to like
small world.
They go. we live in an area that is not very. There's not a lot of people. It's Anyway, so so Lark and my wife knew each other since they were kids, essentially, and were friends. And so once me and my wife were like dating and getting closer, me and Lark also became friends. And then and we were both like really into Harry Potter. That was the one thing that we were kind of like, I don't know really what else to talk about, so let's talk about why Neville is like, everyone shouldn't have been mean to Neville, or just something like that, you know. And then Lark moved across the country. And we kind of had idly been like, oh, like, wouldn't it be funny if we like, you know, had a podcast where we just talked about Harry Potter for 2 hours? And him moving was an excellent reason for it to be like, well, I'm not gonna see you in person, like, you know, as often as I have been, so we might as well have this podcast. And we were inspired by another Harry Potter podcast called Which Please, which, you know, it sounds like maybe you guys are familiar with, but they have a very kind of critical like view of the series. So their first run through, they talked about each book per episode and kind of like analyzed sort of, a lot of like major themes and kind of just sort of, picking apart the stuff that like didn't make sense or kind of like messed up. And me and Lark were both just like, oh, if only they had done a like chapter by chapter podcast. And we're like, I guess we got it. This is what we're gonna do. So yeah, so we started off with book 1, and every episode we talk about any political things that come up. We talk about just things that we are in general angry about in the books, and just and like it's like a lot of like lighthearted stuff too, where it's kind of like Neville is the greatest. Why can't he be my friend? Kind of thing. And so, and now we're basically, what was that, 3 years ago? It was 3 years ago. And now we're like we're like 20 chapters into Goblet of Fire. Okay. And we have another podcast reading the books Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which is inspired a lot by Harry Potter. Yeah. But the hero and his nemesis / roommate actually get together, as opposed to everyone who is like, I have to go read Harry Draco fan fiction to see this. Yeah.
So, the enemy lovers there that gets to you, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the Carry On series is a lot more going for it, but that's sort of the hook that gets people into it, is being like, oh, well, if you want to see this, you should read Carry On. Also, they're better written, but that's just my opinion.
They're really good. I only got to read the first one, but it's good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, books 2 and 3 are also good, and they're also
I'll be sure
if you ever feel like picking it back up. So we have The Galley Prophet about Harry Potter, and then we have Escape from Reality about the Carry On series. So we're just talking about magical schools and chosen ones.
It doesn't get better than that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And despite you doing this, basically, as we now know, that it was because Lark was moving away, and it was like your way to hang out and all that, which is amazing. That's kind of how like we started. Just because Nancy was moving to Italy, and it was like 2 months, and I literally asked her like, okay, we're gonna do this, but you're gonna move, and she's like, this is gonna be like our weekly hangout. It doesn't matter, and it's our way to catch up. Like, not only in the episode, but afterwards we can spend hours talking. Yeah.
Oh, I just think it's, as a listener, like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I love it when it's clear that the hosts are friends. Because it's just, it's like you're hanging out and you're like,
you feel part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And some people have commented that, like, oh, sometimes I'm listening to you and I'm like, I want to discuss this.
Because I have to write back at you and you're just in my computer or something.
We get dramatic, and the people also wants to get dramatic with us. And that's good. It reflects that there is some kind of dynamic in the team, and also makes us comfortable, like, chill. And that's great. So you can go on, Rachel. Sorry.
No, don't worry. And despite doing this, like for funs and giggles and all that, you are part of a very important movement within the fandom. Your name is practically everywhere. It's something me and Nancy and I admire a lot. And we want to know a little bit more of this. We are part of the Latin American community, and well, if you don't know, you probably do know. It's a very different culture. It's very, still a little bit outdated, I gotta say. And your part in this movement, it's admirable. I love all that you do, all that you post. And how does it make you feel that, like, maybe not that you're the face, but that you do have an important role in this when it all began, and that people do look towards you for your opinion and what you say, that it matters?
It does feel really great that people can look to myself and Lark, just because I personally know so many like gay Harry Potter fans
Of course.
that I'm kind of like, yeah, obviously like gays love Harry Potter. And then the fact that, you know, when we started, we were like, are there really not any other queer people making Harry Potter like a Harry Potter podcast? That seems weird. Okay. And then J.K. Rowling was running her mouth, and we're like, oh,
No, amiga,
It was,
don't.
no,
Don't.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
it
no.
was, yeah, no, it,
No one give her money ever again.
yeah.
So, and
How-
so it's just been, it's a little bit surprising since we kind of just started the podcast being like, well, we'll be those queer people talking about Harry Potter, and we'll, you know, have some laughs and we'll yell about house elves. It'll be great. And then, you know, we're at a point where we get a lot of emails and messages from people who are like, this has helped me come out to my friends or my family, or help me uncover something about my identity that I didn't realize up until, you know, you all talking about it. And I think that it makes talking about Harry Potter still worthwhile. Just because I think that the community, like fandom itself, makes still talking about Harry Potter like something that I feel good doing. Because otherwise I would just be like,
Like,
I would just be like, no, we're good. Let's read something else by not this terrible white woman.
yeah, it's a delicate subject for people that grew up with this. Like we were raised by Harry Potter. We grew up together with the cast, watching the movies. Of course, when you get to this point and when you all have certain age, and in my case, I'm also, I have a girlfriend, and of course I'm part of the community, and I felt like, you are, I mean, this statement, it's hurting people of my community that I have close friends that has been affected, also Harry Potter fans, that one of my friends were like, I'm not listening or seeing anything of this woman again. And we used, because we were co-workers, and we used to talk about Harry Potter, and that this happened, I sent him a message, and he told me like, don't talk about that. I mean, I don't want to know anything. Okay. And of course, I mean, we're talking that a lot of people got affected by this statement, and the worst thing was that it kept going on.
And it got worse.
Never stopped. Like,
and I don't think it's going to stop.
It's not gonna. No.
Until someone deletes her Twitter, which
I mean, and I don't
is that
even
gonna
know,
happen?
like, why does her management team doesn't tell her? Like, why do they don't tell her that it's wrong, that you shouldn't be doing this type of stuff? Like, keep it on the inside at least.
She's very rich is the only thing that I can think of, and they're like, you're a billionaire, so why would you need to be silent? And I'm just like, actually,
why would you need to be suggested to like keep some thoughts to yourself? Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't see it. I mean, I think in a way, I'm a little bit glad that she said it, because I think it would have been worse if, like, along maybe, like, I don't know, say in 10 years, we had found out that these were her real thoughts. And like us as a fandom, I mean, I'm straight, so I may have like not the same issues or not the same things that y'all have gone through and anything. But I mean, I fully support everyone who says that J.K. Rowling literally should have not said these things, at least in the way that she said them, and it's in a very extreme way. But to have her kept it down and like quiet just to keep on selling more would have been a lot worse, in my opinion.
It is good that we know. I just wish that every 2 months she wouldn't say something else terrible.
Yeah.
Or
because it's never something good. That's the weirdest part. It's never something good.
Yeah. And it's also really hard because it's hard for trans people all over the world. Obviously, a lot of different cultures and governments are dealing with it in different ways. I don't know what's going on with the UK, where it seems just like every woman seems to be anti-trans people, where I'm like, I know this is the birthplace of colonialization, so that must be a thing.
Yeah.
But
like it's the epitome of that, yeah.
It's like you ran out of places to colonize, and now you're just turning all that hate onto your own people, which I'm like, you should really figure that out. Maybe.
Yeah.
Work on that.
It's very weird. It's very weird. And over here it's kind of like the opposite, but at the same time it's the same. Right, Nancy? Like here in Latin America, at least very specific to Mexico, it's very like, oh, we don't care, it doesn't matter. Well, it's very more like in Spanish, it's like vale madre, it's like we don't give a shit.
We don't give a shit.
Quite literally. But then at the same time, it happens, and there's like that discrimination, and there's that hate talk and everything. So it's very confusing here. Like you have no idea. Like I've met people and they're like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, wait, no, it does matter. And everyone and every person that you meet, like you're not sure whether they're like yay or nay. Like you're not sure, and it's very confusing, super confusing.
And it's like they are leaving it like for later. Yeah. But it's an issue that we have, because in our community, and you probably know that the people is very religious, and it's very with the family and what the family says. And, you know, the Latin American culture is very attached to the roots we grown up with. And we are like always wanting to make proud our family, and like not achieving or not like being in compliance with the model they put you in. And for us, it's like, it's just the awakening. We're waking up, but
we're taking baby steps. We're getting there. Yeah.
And but now I think that every day I see more people like the community, like LGBT community, like saying we are here and we need to fix this. Yeah. Because there is a lot of discrimination in also in all Latin America, and it's amazing that in the first world, now that I'm in Europe, there are also a lot of issues, and it's first world, and it's like, oh, you say that you were the first one accepting
open-minded ones and all that,
homosexual marriage, but then you don't have certain rights because it's not valid. Your marriage is like, why are you play? What are we playing? But the good thing is that the community, it's you know, making us visible, and all the supporters. And I think that this that having people of different areas, like from music, from art, in this case from fandoms, also making the fight like visible, help to get to old people, to other people, to see like, I'm worried for this, and we are taking it from our side, from our likes and dislikes, and we are fighting for this because, I mean, we need to. And then we have like, I don't know, I wanted to mention this, but I don't know if that happens with you. I have some friends that sometimes if I talk and open the topic of J.K. Rowling, it's a very like, you know, like, oh, but it's a woman, and you know, like this the feminism, but ¿cómo se dice? Radical feminism. And you know, I have these friends that when I post something about canceling JK or something about that, about you can like Harry Potter, but you don't have to support. Sure. They're like, but you're canceling a woman, and she was right because she was defending us. Like, have you read any of the things she have said after that first tweet? Like, and then I got, since I defended myself, I got the comments like, oh, but you are still with the podcast of Harry Potter. You're making money for that. And I'm like with Rachel, like, are you receiving money? Because I don't have any.
we're not getting anything in exchange of this. We're doing this just because we want to. Yeah.
But I don't know if you have been through this situation where you have this kind of contexts that are like, oh, why are you doing this? Or why are you not supporting anymore, JK? Like, have you been in this situation before?
Yeah, I mean, these are all things that definitely people will bring to us. And I actually do want to talk about the whole like feminine. I'm putting finger quotation marks around feminism because I don't think that women or anyone who call themselves feminist, but who are against people trying to live their lives, if it's like, you know, racists or homophobics, or people like, if people are racist or homophobic or transphobic, I'm like, that's not feminism.
Basically,
you think just, it's like, oh, you're a woman, you can say whatever you want to, is feminism. It's like, no, feminism is for all of us to be liberated from the crushing thumb of the patriarchy and late stage capitalism and the way that racism has affected us all. Like, it's not about letting women say whatever they want to. And so I always just want to fight people to be like, women who are against trans people are not feminists. You're a bigot. You're a hateful person.
Yeah.
And especially
here
in the United States, it's like you're someone who is against trans people. So are the scary fundamentalist Christian Republicans who hate gay people and Black people and Jewish people. And it's like, that's really who you want to align yourselves with. None of these are connecting. And so, and we actually do have, I don't know if you've probably seen it on our website, we do have a guide for people to just be like, you can just engage in fandom and
not support.
Just don't go to the movies or the theme park or buy the books. Like, you can still go online and talk to people and have a podcast and dress up, and like, people are doing that and not making any money. Or you can give money to, you know, Latinx people who are making stuff. Like, you can give money to folks who are just, you know, on Etsy or on Instagram. And
that's great. I mean, I love this guide because it's also in Spanish. I found the post that has an explanation in Spanish, and that was awesome.
Someone very graciously translated it for us, because
that's great.
I mean, no, because in the end, many Spanish or other languages listeners.
Like, we're right across the border. We do have to know the language, unfortunately. I mean, we learn literally first year, it's like Spanish and English all the time. So we do consume a lot of English content, and it's great. I mean, something that's kind of funny and kind of sad, it's that over here in Latin America, we are not very much known to buy expensive things for ourselves. And given that a lot of the Wizarding World merch is very expensive, it literally like went downhill. It's very funny because I've spoken to with a lot of people, and they're like, I mean, if I'm gonna spend, and I'm just gonna do like a quick, like, I mean, if I'm gonna spend like $20 in I don't know, like a wand, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna wait till it's like literally on sale, or just not buy it. And it's like, well, okay, I mean, and that's good for you. And then you can find people on Instagram who are selling, which is like a very big market over here, or in other apps that sell something that can fulfill yours without supporting someone whose, I mean, ideals do not align with yourself, of course.
But also when you put like a goal or like a reason, like, I mean, we can support our local store to buy something handmade. But at the same time, when you go for a reason behind it, like, we are supporting a local store, but also we are avoiding to make the rich people. that it's not making any good, because if you will say, well, it's supporting and we know that it's doing this, and it's not offending people, okay, you go for it because you see what's going on behind. But if it's only affecting, even if it's a small part of the community, you just don't, because why would you do that? If this person can do something this small to someone, why wouldn't it do it for someone else or for a bigger group? Like it doesn't make any sense. Where is it? I don't know if in English exists this word congruence. Maybe I'm invented. Yeah, congruence.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't align itself with the rest. Yeah.
I mean, I would much rather give my money to a queer brown person anyway than to a billionaire.
Yeah, obviously. I'd rather help, like, I have a friend who makes candles, and she makes like themed candles. So she does like the Halloween, the Yule Ball, and it's like, I'd rather give you when you make your own candles at home rather than buy one like literally from, I don't know, Bath and Body Works that's like Harry Potter edition that's like twice the cost and lasts like for half the time in my house.
Yeah.
And what do people say? But it smells good. Come on.
It's like, have you smelled the ones from my friend? You wouldn't know how good they smell because they're naturally done and all that.
I think a Bath and Body Works is disgusting anyway. So again, I would much rather buy from some person. I mean, selling it on Etsy.
The issue I have with Bath and Body Works is that they all smell the same. Like in the beginning, I'm like, oh, it smells different, and then it all ends up smelling the same. And it's like I bought something that's Christmassy, and it smells the same as the one that's like planty or minty or whatever. It smells the same. I don't see the difference. I never got the issue with that. Like, what's the hype around it? But okay, moving on. We wanted to moving on from my issue with candles.
We're just yelling about candles for the next 20 minutes.
I have very strong opinions.
What are we talking about?
It's because I have a very delicate nose, very sensitive. So it really pisses me off when I bought like $50 worth of candles and then they all end up smelling the same. And it's like, I gave you my money for something good and it was not worth it. So it's a very touchy subject with me, as you can see. But we also want to know, like, besides the Gilly Prophet, and now that, I mean, I didn't know that you did the whole thing with Carry On, which I'm going to go check out after we finish this. Like, do you have any other projects that whether you do with Lark or that you do on your own or with someone else that, I mean, maybe it's not on the political or social side, but like that you do for fun and that you think people should know about it?
I feel like everything I do for fun that's not the podcast is just baking and playing video games. So I'm gonna talk about the podcast. Every June we do like special episodes for what is Pride Month in the US. Celebrating LGBTQ folks. It's sort of our big yearly thing. I guess I don't know when this episode is coming out, but Lark
in the following weeks, but
perfect. Lark is launching a Kickstarter crowdfunding for a tarot deck that he created that is not gendered. Since I don't know if either of you are familiar with the tarot deck, there's a lot of like male and female kind of linked cards, and he created a deck that gets rid of all that, so anyone can relate to the symbolism in tarot in his tarot deck. So that's on our website and in our social media. Yeah, it looks super cool. They're all monster themed. Like each card is a different monster. It looks so cool. It looks so cool. It's awesome. And then, I mean, yeah, that's
pretty much a little bit of it. That's a little bit of it all.
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah. So yeah, we're
Okay.
just out here. Oh, we also have a Patreon, which is a kind of a monthly subscription website, but we have a podcast exclusive to just that platform that's about the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So,
pretty cool.
Because again, chosen ones, we just always
Yeah.
that's all we
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
talk
sensing a very, very specific issue that y'all keep up to. I mean, that's great. That's great.
We're seeing the pattern here.
Yeah.
Young people with too much responsibilities.
I mean, it's a great trope. When it's done correctly, it's an amazing trope. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, that's why fantasy is one of my favorite genres to read. Honestly.
Yeah, all I read is like sci-fi and fantasy and like a little bit of romance. Because
And it's
like,
always some chosen one that has to like save the world or something. It's like the thing that keeps it going.
yeah, unless it's Game of Thrones, then you're like, what even is happening now? But
there's like nothing, like you have to expect nothing, and yet you're still surprised each time completely with the 360s they pull. Yeah. It's a show. It's a very intense show. I haven't read the books though. I've been told that they're better if you can handle them.
They're better. I think a lot of the same terrible things happen, but I think the writing isn't as gruesome as watching it on screen.
Yeah, that made it really bad. But I mean, then like excluding last season, then like I would love to read the books just to like keep on going on that, because last season was not enjoyable at all. No. It does not exist in my book.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my grave being mad about the last season. Okay.
I just remember every Sunday being like, here we go again with something new that's gonna disappoint me, and it's gonna like ruin all the past seasons. Like it will not make any sense. And it went on ahead to have no sense at all.
It's really funny because I don't know anything about that. And I always hear people complaining about this.
It was horrible. It was
don't
horrible.
even start with Game of Thrones. Read / watch something else.
The only thing I saw was yesterday. I watched a video that Coldplay make a mockumentary of musical, Game of Thrones musical. So the actors of Game of Thrones are singing with Coldplay. It's amazing.
That's something I'm gonna check out too. Wow. Send this to me.
That is
I spent most of my time when I'm not working or making podcasts or making songs. I watch YouTube all day. So randomly I got this video and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I don't know anything about Game of Thrones, but the songs are amazing.
Nancy, I have to email y'all. I follow this TikTok account. Maybe you've seen it, of this guy who he'll sing cover songs like as if it was sung by another band.
Yeah.
I just watched like I think 20 minutes of all of his videos being like, this is incredible. I want to listen to an entire song where it's like Weezer covering an Elton John song or whatever it was, where I'm like,
having everything all that in your head is like, wow.
How does it match so well? Yeah.
The ability to make that, that's like, wow, it's amazing. It's a gift.
And to play those instruments, I don't play any instruments, so I'm always very jealous about people who can just like pick up a keyboard and be like, I can just listen to a song and then play it. I'm like, how?
Yeah. That's Nancy. I mean, I'm the tone deaf one in this friendship. Nancy's the one that can play like multiple instruments and can sing and everything. Yeah.
Magic, actual magic.
Yes, because
I was about to spoil something, but I can't. But you just should know, Jessie, that I mean, you know, the Wizard Rock movement and everything. We are launching some releases. Sometimes
soon.
And there will be something very interesting that I will launch, but I will be will release one of my songs, and I cannot say anything else.
No, that's fine. You should definitely email us though about it,
but once it's
so
out,
cool.
I will tell you. So it's very interesting. it's very interesting, and I will let you know.
I'm so excited.
It's next month, I guess, or in 2 months it will be out, and let's see.
Okay.
So cool. Yeah.
I will let you know.
We got the first heads up on this. We got the exclusive on it. Okay. That's great.
Oh,
You only
so
can
cool.
see
So
and hear
excited.
this in our podcast, Butterby Talks.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be so cool. Yeah. I'm very excited to hear that.
Thank you. But we will write to you. Well, in my case, I will, and I will let you know. Probably you will like it. I hope so. And okay, I wanted to ask you something before, because we are almost in the end. But before going that, I wanted to ask you, it's something inside you that drives you to do what you do. It's like, maybe it's very deep, but something like.
No, actually, I mean, it is very deep, but I do have an answer for you. I did a lot of, when I was like a teenager, I did a lot of community work that was political, and where I live in the city of Detroit, there's a lot of how do I say this? It's a very weird history here, where there was a lot of business, and then a lot of racial tensions, and the racial tensions caused a lot of people and businesses to leave the city. So it was very empty for a really long time, and pretty poor for a US city. So I kind of grew up, and so, like, when I was in high school, I had a lot of, I was doing work and kind of be like, well, you don't need big companies to like come in order to build a community. There's like people around you that already like live in an area, or already invested in just, making the best of it without it being related to money or greed or like anything like that. And so I sort of like live my life in a way that I was born here. I didn't ask for that, but now that I am here, I'm kind of like, it might as well make things better while I'm here,
Of course.
Like, and then, so I kind of am always just, I'm always interested in that, especially since a lot of it doesn't take a lot. It isn't like I gotta go out there and like, feed every hungry person, even though there are a lot of hungry people in the United States.
Yeah.
But I can, if it helps some other teenager to hear me be a 36-year-old bisexual woman yelling about Harry Potter, then I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. And if folks like, when they're like, how do I deal with, no one understanding my identity, and then me and Lark can go on our podcast and talk about, well, here are some things that worked for us. And sort of like, it's sort of like that. Those are the kind of things that other people are going to like take, and they're going to get older and they're going to be like, you know what? Someone did something nice for me. I'm going to make sure something nice for them. And it's kind of like all we can do, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that doesn't involve
because you never know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in my life who like, were really good and kind to me, and at a time where I needed it. And I think it's also important to be able to be like, that is a privilege, and and we live in this terrible world that is not good to many people, and I don't need to be here making it worse. I should be helping people the way that I have been helped. So
actually, I don't know if you heard this quote before. I heard it in Spanish, but I don't know if in English is the same. That it says that we are the average of the people we surround with.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we're like the average. And I think in your case, like in the situation you were raised and you grow up, and also the people that it's around you, of course, make you who you are. But the good thing is that now having like this social media and communicating, you can get to a lot of people and also be part of their daily lives, because at the end it's a podcast and people can hear you when they are in their way to school or to work or something like that. And that's amazing, because I think that it's a great work. And in the end, I mean, you are doing something that for you is like, okay, very simple. I'm just talking and having, hang out with my friend. But at the same time, some people will be like, wow, like this is having an impact in my life. I mean, this is important. And I think that that's amazing. So in this case, the people that it's listening to us right now, and whenever you are listening to this, and you don't know about this podcast, The Daily Prophet, well, you can always look for it, and you will know more about this. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it can help you, as it had helped before a lot of people. Or at least, make you laugh, because I mean, we can always have a good laugh while we are, listening to something.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like y'all are also doing similar work. It's important to, like, a lot of online fandom is very English language centered, like Western world centered, and it's like it's good for, folks in all of the various Latin American countries and like Spanish speaking countries to be able to like have a fandom discussion, like in the language,
in their language and everything. Yeah,
like don't sell yourself short for what you're doing either,
I mean, if one of the reasons was that we don't have any, like, a lot of content. We just have like very few content creators in Spanish, and when I say few, it's like 5 that people knows.
On one hand, we can count them.
Yeah, and it's like, it's okay, at least we have 5, but it's like, okay, maybe our target is not like everyone, but the people that likes to listen to a podcast while they are driving. So I mean, we do this for fun, and we hope that people listen it for fun or to learn something new, and that's the great thing. I think that's why it's important, from one side, representation, in this case, a Spanish podcast of Harry Potter by 2 girls, and in the other side, it's also the way that it's a hobby for us, that we're having fun doing this, and I hope we're helping someone, like, just to learn something new. That's I mean, our mission and our work, like you with Daily Prophet and us with this podcast, is like to hang out, but at the same time help others, or make them laugh at least. That's something I do a lot.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are folks who are like, thank God I can listen to this podcast, that people that look and sound like me.
Yeah.
So
that's very important. We have had people that are like, I mean, other content creators, they don't focus on like the funny parts of Harry Potter, and what we like to do is to make a lot of people laugh. So a lot of our episodes, actually, it's just like giggling and laughing and making fun of something, even so, whether it be within the fandom or outside of it, the books or even the movies.
I mean, the movies
and that's what we want to do. We want to make people laugh. We want to make people feel comfortable when they're listening to us, and it's
and also one of the things we focus a lot also, it's like the fandom creations, like all the things that the fandom is doing, like the Wizard Rock and the different types of Wizard Rock and the Wizard Rock resource, and also the Daily Prophet, but also Harry Latino, one of the first websites in Spanish since the beginning. And like, we try to point out what people that likes Harry Potter is doing, so the listeners, that is people from everywhere, because we have people from different sides and parts of the world, and that's amazing because they get to know other people. Like, I didn't know that the Harry Latino was from Chile, from Argentina, sorry. But because also there is one person from Chile, one persona, and I mean that's great. Like, we get to know what the fandom is doing, and yeah, I like it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I went deep.
No, it's awesome.
So,
but I think that would be, we're kind of going on to the end. We just wanted to ask you, Jessie, if you would like to give a message to our Latin American listeners, well, everyone, but like the community, before we give our closing slogan and all that.
If anyone is out there writing the Latin American Harry Potter ripoff novel that you want, please let me know. I will read it.
We want it.
Give me a magical school in a Latin American magical tradition. I want that. I want to read that.
That's a very interesting idea.
That's a good offer.
Yes.
If I do it, will you interview me?
Yes. I will read the books. I'm telling you, I'm tired of reading books about white people. So
white people who are the chosen ones, specifically.
Yes.
Someone else to be the chosen one for once.
Right. Give me someone from Guatemala who is the chosen one. I will do that.
Oh, that would be amazing. Nancy, imagine a chosen one that eats tortas de tamal. Or los taquitos de la esquina.
That sells.
That would be amazing.
I want that. I want that so badly.
Yes. Yes, we're gonna work on it so that somebody would write it, because it would be amazing.
I mean, not just for me, but for all of the young people of Latin America and the diaspora. But I would also enjoy reading it.
Of course. Okay. Well, that's a very great message. We loved it. You gave us a bunch of ideas. And first of all, we want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us, to have a little laugh, have a little bit of chat, some deep questions from Nancy, some not so deep for me, but overall a great conversation. And if you don't mind, we're going to do our little switch to Spanish just so that we can give our closing words, and we will finish this episode. So, Nancy.
Lamentablemente, sí. Hemos llegado al final del capítulo. Esperamos que hayan entendido el inglés, que por supuesto yo no lo hablo también, pero miren, le estoy intentando y me hago la lucha. Y recuerden que tenemos un episodio cada viernes, desde que se levantan tempranito en la mañana ya lo van a tener ahí listo. Y pueden contactarnos en nuestras redes sociales, que son
BB Talks Podcast en Facebook, Twitter e Instagram.
Y bueno, amigos, esto ha sido todo. También les recordamos, sí, quiero mencionar que pueden saber más del Gaily Prophet en sus páginas, en sus redes sociales de Gaily Prophet. Así lo pueden encontrar también en Instagram o la página de internet, sitio oficial, que es Hashtag Ruthless, ¿right?
Sí.
Ok. Ese es el sitio, y pueden encontrar más información sobre los movimientos y proyectos que están trabajando. Y bueno, esto ha sido todo. Esto ha sido una travesura realizada. Hasta la próxima. Nox.